Vietnam reports first locally transmitted COVID-19 case in 89 days. International flights to be suspended for violations of COVID-19 prevention. Vietnamese National Assembly and European Parliament discuss EVFTA implementation. New tax decree eyes cross-border transactions. Hanoi to host Russian Film Week. Welcome to FBNC News Weekly. We begin with the latest updates about COVID-19 situation in the country. Now, Vietnam confirmed its first locally transmitted case of coronavirus in nearly 3 months on Monday, November 30th, after the infection of a man related to a flight attendant who had tested positive after returning from Japan 2 weeks before that. The country's health minister ordered provinces and state agencies to tighten screening and controls while contact tracing efforts were launched after the 32-year-old man was confirmed as the first reported domestic infection in 89 days. With a strict quarantine and tracking measures, Vietnam has managed to quickly contain its coronavirus outbreaks, allowing it to resume its economic activities earlier than much of Asia. Vietnam crushed its first wave of coronavirus infections in April and went nearly 100 days without local transmission until the virus reemerged and was quickly contained in the central city of Da Nang in July. But now the country is now facing the third wave of infection, unfortunately. The Prime Minister on December 2nd issued dispatch number 1699 on strengthening COVID-19 prevention and control measures. In the document, he asked ministries and ministry-level agencies, government agencies, railway stations, public transport means, and especially at medical establishments. Chairpersons of those entities were required to enhance inspection and punish heads of units for violations in line with the government's decree number 117 dated September 28, regulating punishment of administrative violations in the medical field. About a local COVID-19 infection case in Ho Chi Minh City, the municipal authorities must quickly trace down F1 and F2 cases to prevent the third wave of infection. The Ministries of Defense and Public Security were also assigned to strengthen border and immigration management. The Prime Minister allowed flights carrying diplomats, experts, investors, skilled workers and their relatives to Vietnam, as well as Vietnamese guest workers to other countries. Ministries, agencies and authorities of centrally run cities and provinces were asked to support the repatriation of Vietnamese citizens living abroad. All passengers to Vietnam must be put under quarantine at designated facilities. Activities gathering large crowds must be suspended. In case of local transmission, social distancing measures must be imposed at high-risk areas. The health sector must improve its capacity and cooperate with foreign partners to produce COVID-19 vaccines for domestic use. The mass media must continue raising public awareness of the pandemic, instruct the people to stay vigilant and prevent negative and distorted information from causing public concern. Domestic carriers will have to suspend international flights if flight crew members violate regulations on medical isolation and COVID-19 prevention. The statement was issued by Deputy Minister of Transport Lê Anh Tuấn in an urgent document sent to the Civil Aviation Authority of Vietnam CAAV and local carriers. In the document, the Ministry of Transport told the CAAV and local carriers, including Vietnam Airlines, Vietjet Air, Bamboo Airways and Pacific Airlines, to enhance COVID-19 prevention among crew members on international flights. According to the minister, the risk of infection on flights carrying citizens, experts, investors and high-tech workers from among crew members during flights. For pilots on flights to bring citizens, experts, investors and high-tech workers to Vietnam, the ministry told them to continue strictly implementing preventive measures and ensure there is no contact with passengers on the flight and the rest of the crew, as well as with local ground staff at foreign airports. Airlines are also asked to regularly conduct hygiene and disinfection of potentially infectious locations on flights and sterilization of aircraft carrying international passengers at the place of entry, strictly implement isolation at home and quarantine in accordance with instructions. Now, head of Vietnam Airlines Cabin Crew Division Phan Ngọc Linh and Deputy Head of the Division Dương Quân Nhân, who is also head of the Management Board of the carrier's Southern Boarding and Concentrated Quarantine Establishment, have been suspended from work to clarify their responsibilities related to recent violations on COVID-19 prevention. The disciplinary measure was announced after a Vietnam Airlines flight attendant, patient 1342, was found having close contact with his mother and two friends while undergoing self-quarantine at the boarding house in Tân Bình district of Ho Chi Minh City after finishing 14 days in concentrated quarantine site and being tested negative with coronavirus SARS-CoV-2. However, he also admitted shortcomings in management and supervision activities. He added that the airline is cooperating with authorized agencies to handle all violations while working hard to improve its pandemic prevention and control measures to minimize risks of spreading the virus to the community. You're watching FBNC News. Representatives from the Vietnamese National Assembly and the European Parliament (EP) discussed the implementation of the European Union Vietnam Free Trade Agreement or EVFTA during an online meeting on December 2nd. Since the deal took effect earlier this year, the Vietnamese government has issued a comprehensive plan for the EVFTA implementation. Each ministry, agency and locality has also embarked on their own plans. Its supervisory role in the delivery of the commitments. Since August 1st, when the deal went into force, Vietnam has exported goods worth $7.3 billion to the EU while spending around $3.7 billion on imports. EP lawmakers spoke highly of Vietnam's timely building of laws related to the commitments in the deal. The two sides held that it is necessary to intensify cooperation to boost the effective implementation of the agreement, especially in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic. Both sides also discussed the establishment of the domestic advisory groups to promote trade and sustainable development. Cross-border transactions are in the crosshairs as Decree 126, the latest regulation on tax administration, came into effect on December 5th, said senior tax officials in a recent press conference. Commercial banks are to be required to turn taxpayers' account information over to tax agencies. For the time being, the agencies only require the names of the owners, account numbers, and the dates on which the accounts were opened or closed, according to Lưu Đức Huy, Director of the Department of Tax Policies under the General Department of Taxation. Vietnam may earn $8.6 billion from exporting aquatic products this year, the same as the figure in 2019. The Vietnam Association of Seafood Exporters and Producers (VASEP) has forecast, adding that it would be a result beyond the expectations of most given the COVID-19 pandemic.
Export turnover stood at 7.8 billion Vietnam dong in the first 11 months of the year, also the same year-on-year. After significant declines at the beginning of the year due to pandemic, aquatic products export began recovering in July, with November posting impressive year-on-year growth of 13%. Shrimp remain the main export items, with double-digit month-on-month growth since in June, including a notable 25% in September and October and 28% in November. Export totaled $3.5 billion in the first 11 months, up 14% year-on-year. Meanwhile, overall seafood shipments have recovered since August and reached $2.9 billion in the first 11 months, down 1.2% year-on-year. The US, the EU, and China continue to be the main importers of Vietnam's aquatic products, with growth of 25%, 30%, and 15% respectively. Vietnam is estimated to earn $1.65 billion from aquaculture export to the US, $992 million to the EU, excluding the UK, and $1.48 billion to China.
Vietnam ranks first among Southeast Asian countries in terms of primary school student learning outcomes under the Southeast Asia Primary Learning Matrix or CPLM program. The results of the CPLM in 2019 were announced at an online conference of the Southeast Asian Ministers of Education Organization on December 1st.
Accordingly, among the 6 participating countries, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, Malaysia, Myanmar, and the Philippines, primary school students in Vietnam rank first in all 3 competency surveys, namely reading, writing, and mathematics. Specifically, in the reading domain, Vietnamese students show the highest average competencies level of 6/6. The percentage of Vietnamese students achieving the 6th level of competencies is 82%. Malaysia ranks second with 58% of students achieving the 6th level. In terms of writings, Vietnamese students has an average capacities of 6 out of 8. In mathematics, Vietnamese students has an average competencies level of 8 out of 9. The learning gap between Earths improves the qualities of their education systems.
A Russian Film Week will begin in Hanoi on December 9th at the National Cinema Center. Movies featured are Road to Berlin, White Tiger, The Star, Come and See, and They Fought for Their Country.
Road to Berlin is a drama and adventure directed by Sergei Popov. The comprehensive directions and careful constructions of the script allow the films to examine the bonding of 2 characters, depicting their professionalism and often heroic acts, without resorting to sensationalism or sentimentality. It will be shown at 7 p.m. on December 9 to open the film's event. Audience will have an opportunity to better understand the great patriotic war and experience the Russian films industry. All 5 films selected for this year's event have won many domestic awards and have features at a number of international festivals. Free ticket can be picked up at the cinema from December 4 at 87 Langham Street. The Film Week is co-organized by the Ministry of Culture, Sport and Tourism in the Russian embassies in Vietnam to mark the 78th anniversary of diplomatic relations between Vietnam and Russia, 1950 to 2020, and the 75th anniversary of the end of World War II.
Now that has wrapped up our FBNC News Weekly program. Thanks for watching. We look forward to seeing you next week, same time. Goodbye.